Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hear2See channel. We've got an overview of the Bible book of Ezra. Hear2See channel focused on sharing pearls of wisdom, nuggets of knowledge, understanding the difficult, and instructions for a better life. The Bible book of Ezra, returning and rebuilding. Around 446 BC. We're going to be looking at Dr. Chuck Swindoll's Insight for Living webpage, which has overviews on each book of the Bible, including Ezra. Dr. Swindoll covers who wrote the book, where are we, why is Ezra so important, what is the big idea, how do I apply this, and a wonderful Bible study aid, a Bible study chart that we'll look at. Here we go. But first, who wrote the book? Jewish tradition has long attributed authorship of this historical book to the scribe and scholar Ezra, who led the second group of Jews returning from Babylon to Jerusalem. Ezra chapter 7, verses 11 to 26. And Ezra chapter 8 includes a first-person reference implying the author's participation in the events. He plays a major role in the second half of the book, as well as in the book of Nehemiah, its sequel. In the Hebrew Bible, the two books were considered one work, though some internal evidence suggests they were written separately and joined together in the Hebrew canon, and separated again in the English translations. Ezra was a direct descendant of Aaron, the chief priest, chapter 7, verses 1 to 5. Thus he was a priest and a scribe in his own right. His zeal for God and God's law spurred Ezra to lead a group of Jews back to Israel during King Artaxerxes' reign over the Persian Empire, which had since replaced the Babylonian Empire that originally exiled the people of Judah. And this is a map of the land during the captivity of Judah, 586 to 516 BC, which is the time of Ezra's writings. So, where are we? Well, the book of Ezra records two separate time periods directly following the 70 years of Babylonian captivity. Ezra 1 through 6 covers the first return of the Jews from captivity, led by Zerubbabel, a period of 23 years beginning with the Edict of Cyrus of Persia and ending at the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem, 538 to 515 BC. Ezra chapters 7 through 10 picks up the story more than 60 years later when Ezra led the second group of exiles to Israel, 458 BC. The book could not have been completed earlier than about 450 BC, the date of the events recorded in chapter 10, verses 17 to 44. The events in Ezra are set in Jerusalem and the surrounding area. The returning exiles were able to populate only a tiny portion of their former homeland. Why is Ezra so important? The book of Ezra provides a much-needed link to the historical record of the Israelite people. When their king was dethroned and captured, and the people exiled to Babylon, Judah, as an independent nation, ceased to exist. The book of Ezra provides an account of the Jews' regathering, of their struggle to survive and to rebuild what had been destroyed. Through this narrative, Ezra declares that there was still God's people and that God had not forgotten them. In the book of Ezra, we witness the rebuilding of the new temple, the unification of the returning tribes as they shared a common struggles and were challenged to work together. Later, after the original remnant had stopped work on the city walls and spiritual apathy ruled, Ezra arrived with another 2,000 people and sparked a spiritual revival. By the end of the book, Israel had renewed its covenant with God and had begun acting in obedience to Him. Ezra also contains one of the great intercessory prayers of the Bible. Ezra chapter 9 verses 5 to 15. See Daniel chapter 9 and Nehemiah chapter 9 for others. His leadership proved critical to the Jews' spiritual advancement. So, what is the big idea? Ezra's narrative reveals two main issues faced by the returning exiles. One, the struggle to restore the temple. Ezra chapter 1 verses 1 through chapter 6 verse 22. And number 2, the need for spiritual reformation. Chapter 7 verse 1 through chapter 10 verse 44. Both were necessary in order for the people to renew their fellowship with the Lord. A broader theological purpose is also revealed. God keeps His promises. Through the prophets, God had ordained that His chosen people would return to their land after 70-year exile. Ezra's account proclaims that God kept His word and shows that when God's people remained faithful to Him, He would continue to bless them. Hence, the book emphasizes the temple and proper worship, similar to Chronicles, which was also written during these days. How do I apply this? God moved the hearts of secular rulers, Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes, to allow, even encourage, and help the Jewish people to return home. He used these unlikely allies to fulfill His promises of restoration for His chosen people. Have you encountered unlikely sources of blessing? Have you wondered how God can really work all things together for the good of those who are called by His name? Romans chapter 8:28. Take time today to acknowledge God's sovereignty and mercy in your life. Recommit to Him your trust, your love, and your obedience. And now, the Bible Study Aid, the Ezra Overview Bible Study Chart. Now, as we zoom in, you can see that Ezra is divided into two groups: the construction with the leader of Zerubbabel, which is Ezra's chapters 1 through 6, and the Reformation, where the leader is Ezra, Ezra's chapters 7 through 10. And then it's further broken down into four groupings. Ezra chapters 1 and 2, which is the census and the journey. Ezra chapters 3 through 6, temple, foundation, opposition, determination, and completion, which was the construction of the temple. And the third group, Ezra chapters 7 and 8, which is the census and the journey, and Ezra chapter 9 and 10, the revival, confession, and cleansing. You can see it's divided by the book of Esther in Xerxes. Fascinating, isn't it? So take some time and study. The Bible study chart will help you out a lot. And come along with us. We're going to read through the entire Bible book of Ezra. You know, at the Hear2See channel, we've got Hear Journal videos for many books of the Bible and Bible overviews of Proverbs, Mark, Acts, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Psalms, Romans, Galatians, Job, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, and now Ezra. You can read along with us one chapter a day, full chapter, in the New Living Translation from the YouVersion Bible app, along with my Hear Journal. So come along with us and enjoy. And comment below. Share your experiences with us. Have you read the book of Ezra? What's your thoughts about it? Have you done any Hear journaling? If so, let us know. If you don't know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, read the Gospel of John chapter 3 to learn His forgiveness and talk to God about it. Absolutely talk to God. He loves you. So seek Him now. And see you in Ezra chapter 1.